You ever see those people who actually enjoy studying? Like, they'll wake up early, open their notes, and somehow look happy about it. Meanwhile, you're fighting the urge to scroll through your phone or take a 5-minute break that turns into an hour. It almost feels unfair, right? But here's the truth. Studying can actually become something you crave. It can feel satisfying, even addictive, not in a toxic way, but in a way that gives you control and confidence. In this video, I want to show you exactly how to make studying feel addictive. Not forced, not fake motivation, but a natural drive that makes you want to sit down and learn. Let's be real for a second. You don't actually hate learning. You hate the feeling you get when you study. You hate the boredom, the stress, the endless pressure to remember everything. Somewhere along the way, your brain learned that studying equals pain. And your brain, being smart, does what it's supposed to do. It avoids pain and chases pleasure. So, when it's time to study, it starts craving something easier. Your phone, music, TikTok, literally anything that gives you a little dopamine hit. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You've just trained your brain, without realizing it, to connect studying with stress. But the beautiful thing is, you can untrain that. You can rewire your brain to enjoy the process again. Let's talk about how addiction actually works, because that's the secret here. Addiction happens when your brain's reward system gets tied to a certain behavior. Every time you get a message, win a game, or scroll your feed, your brain releases dopamine, that feel-good chemical that says, "That was nice, do it again." The interesting part is that your brain doesn't really love the reward itself. It loves the anticipation of the reward. That's why social media is so addictive. It's unpredictable, and your brain gets excited waiting to see what's next. So what if we could trick your brain into feeling that same anticipation when you study? Imagine actually looking forward to opening your notes because it feels good. That's what we're aiming for, to rewire that dopamine loop so your brain finds joy and focus, not distraction. The first step is to make your study environment feel rewarding. Humans are visual. What we see and feel deeply affects how we think. If your desk is messy and your workspace feels chaotic, your brain associates studying with stress. But when your space looks clean, calm, and inspiring, it sends a completely different signal. You don't need an expensive setup. Just organize your desk, maybe light a candle, play some background music, and keep it clutter-free. When your space feels peaceful, your brain starts to say, "Oh, this feels nice." That's environmental dopamine. It's small, but it's the start of building that addiction. The second step is something I call the micro-reward system. Most people only feel accomplished when they finish a huge task, like studying for 3 hours straight or completing an entire chapter. That's way too long for your brain to wait for a dopamine hit. Instead, break your sessions into small chunks and reward yourself often. For example, study for 25 minutes, then take a 5-minute break. Each time you finish a section, check off a box or color in a progress bar. These small moments of success trigger dopamine, teaching your brain that focus equals reward. And here's the magic. Over time, you'll start craving that focused feeling itself. That's when studying becomes addictive. The third step is all about your identity. If you keep telling yourself, "I hate studying," your brain will believe it. But if you shift your language, say things like, "I'm the kind of person who loves learning," or "Every time I study, I'm building my future," your identity changes. And once your identity changes, your habits naturally follow. You don't need motivation to brush your teeth. It's just who you are. When you start to see yourself as someone who values growth and knowledge, studying becomes part of your identity, not a chore you force yourself to do. Next is gamifying your progress. Think about why video games are so addictive. Every level gives you a sense of progress and reward. You can do the same thing with studying. Create levels for yourself. Level 1 could be 20 minutes a day for a week. Level 2 might be 30 minutes, and so on. Track your streaks on paper or with an app. Seeing your progress visually makes your brain release dopamine because it feels like you're winning. And once your brain gets that taste of progress, it'll start craving more, not from games or distractions, but from studying itself. Another powerful tip: pair studying with pleasure. This means connecting the act of studying with something you already enjoy. Maybe you play your favorite playlist only when you study. Maybe you make a cup of coffee or tea and sip it as you read. Or you study in a spot that feels good, by a window, at a cafe, anywhere that feels relaxing. By pairing studying with comfort and joy, your brain starts to associate it with positive emotions instead of stress. Now let's be honest, it won't feel easy right away. The first few days might feel forced. You'll still get distracted, still feel the urge to scroll, and that's okay. The goal isn't perfection, it's consistency. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you're slowly rewiring your brain. Each time you finish a session and reward yourself, you're building a new connection, one that says, "This feels good." Over time, those tiny wins compound. What once felt like discipline starts feeling like habit, and eventually like addiction, a healthy one.